First question we've got coming in here. We've got an answer as of a couple hours ago. So Tabby's asking about a running back position and getting that solved through the transfer portal. But we've got news coming in here from Husker Online. Texas A&M transfer running back Deandre Jackson has committed to Nebraska.
Yeah, that was much earlier today. That actually happened, I want to say, around noon or so. Yeah, Deandre Jackson, running back from Texas A&M running back that didn't get a lot of carries there, but if you look at that running back stable that Texas A&M had there too, you see what he was running behind. Very talented young man, a guy out of Georgia that actually Nebraska was very high on and recruited heavily when he was coming out in the 2020 class. Sean Beckton, tight ends coach Sean Beckton, Nebraska, he owns the state of Georgia. He's more well known than anybody, I think, coming out of that state as a highly respected coach. And he was heavily in on Deandre, and he chose to go to Texas A&M, and it didn't work out there, and he went out there in the transfer portal, and this happened really fast for Nebraska too. You weren't really expecting this one to come through the pipe, but yeah, they had their running back. They had a running back in there because you lost your two running back commits that you had from the 2020 class already that just left this year, and Savion Morrison and Marvin Scott. So boom, they got one of them back right there, just like that. A guy that's had ties to the program, and it just goes to show you that in this day and age, when you're recruiting a kid at high school and you develop a relationship with him, and he ends up going to another school, you don't cut off that relationship with that player, because look what happens. Boom, all of a sudden things aren't working out at that school, and hey, that coach there that really liked me a lot in this program, they need running backs. So yeah, it adds another piece to the puzzle in that running back room, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them add another running back when Coach Frost and decides on his new running back coach, which is the last position coach that they need to fill right now. And there's two names that have been mentioned and that have been interviewed that we know that they're high on, and we'll kind of see what's going forward. Since just yesterday or Sunday, they finally made it official and filled that special teams coordinator slot there with Bill Bush, who's very familiar with that, and also another LSU tie-in right there. So. Running back spot, and I won't even let you even jump in there yet, because we haven't even talked about the wide receiver spot yet either, which has happened. We mentioned last Tuesday. I talked to you about it. I told you about it. That there was something in the works there with a guy that was in the transfer portal, a big name that was in the transfer portal, and it was pretty much a done deal. It was just an academic little thing that they were waiting to shore up. And, Tuesday night after we got off the air, 48 hours later, not even 48 hours later, the young man's name shows up in the student directory here in Lincoln at UNL. And so it's already a done deal at that point. And we're talking about Trey Palmer, former 5-star number 2 ranked player in the country in 2018 by Rivals.com. Wide receiver, LSU wide receiver, and special teams, punt return, kick return specialist. So Nebraska has, all of a sudden, they've added 8 players now out of the transfer portal into this class. And you're adding some high profile recruits that went to other schools. And this is a Mickey Joseph. And, we talked about this last week, that I told you Mickey Joseph had a guy there that was ready to come from Baton Rouge. And that makes 2 of them, along with Dakotas Crawford. So you got 2 wide receivers out of LSU And on top of that, like we just talked about with Bill Bush being hired as the special teams coordinator, look at what Nebraska has done. They have completely overhauled their special teams. They brought in a new scholarship punter. They brought in a new scholarship kicker. They brought in now a punt return, kick return specialist. They brought in a long snapper. Okay, they have totally overhauled what they're doing on special teams, and obviously it's been a big problem here for the last several years since Scott Frost got here, and they've totally addressed those needs as well. So look at what they've added across the board. Um, Besides the special teams, the skill players that you're adding in there, a quarterback, and we still haven't even got to talk about what else is going on in the quarterback room yet either. So this is it's just fantastic what's going on right now, and this right now this week right now is a huge recruiting weekend because the dead period ends here on Thursday, and you've got official visitors coming in, and you got a lot of transfer portal guys coming in here on visits here, and I'm looking for Nebraska to add a couple more of them this weekend to make it round out 10 spot right now on transfer portals coming into Nebraska.
Yeah, Trey Palmer caught 30 passes for LSU last year. He had been on campus for the previous couple seasons and had limited action, but stepped into the lineup this year. And again, 30 catches, 3 touchdowns. Toby, we love you. Invite your friends, invite your family, invite your liberal coworkers to Tuesday night. Are you ready for some Mark and Greg?
You better be.
So, political tendencies aside, whoever you are, come on in and talk football. Football is the eternal conversation piece. Anybody can talk about it. Everyone's invited.
I was going to say, just drink whatever color Kool-Aid you want to. Just join us and enjoy.
Tons of people asking about Deandre Johnson, which Deandre Jackson. There's a Deandre Johnson out there, but Deandre Jackson, and Greg just gave you the lowdown there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a guy that, like we just talked about, that Sean Beckton had recruited out of the 2020 class anyway, very heavily, and a guy that was down to, Nebraska was one of his top choices, but he chose A&M. But right now too, and when you lost those two guys that we just talked about in the transfer portal with Marvin Scott and Savion Morrison, but now you have Deandre Jackson coming in, and you got Emin Johnson as well, the high school 3-star commit coming out of Minnesota. So you've replaced the two guys that you lost already coming in here for spring football. So that's what happens right now in this day and age with the transfer portal the way it is. And you know what, Mark? I don't know if you looked at the numbers lately or not, but the last time I just looked, there's 650 guys sitting there in the transfer portal right now that don't have a school to go play at in this upcoming season.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah,
It is crazy.
Yeah.